What up, man? It's Big Brother K-Rino. Here with y'all on a Saturday night, and I'm here kind of early, so I'm proud of myself. Hold on, let me move this thing out the way. The lens cap bothering me tonight. I'll move it. Here with y'all on a Saturday night, and I want to go into this topic, but I'm gonna wait a little bit to see who joins the party because this is something real important that we got to speak on, and it may not be what y'all think. I may not go with this way y'all think I'm gonna go with it, but we gonna go with it. So we'll see what happens. Phantom Face Final. We got Phantom Face Final as the first. You're the first to leave a comment, Phantom Face. So I always appreciate you, brother. As you know, um, we're talking about the pay disparity in Hollywood as it relates to black actors and actresses. Um, Mainly the actresses, a lot of the top tier black actors, the male actors, um, they make a nice piece of change, but they are the familiar faces that everybody knows, and those same guys, and I guess from the Will Smiths to the Denzels to all the way to the current time to the Dwayne Johnsons and Kevin Harts, and these guys have moved up into to an echelon where they make a lot of money. So you'll see them making 15, $20 million a movie, but that's still very rare. Um, Everybody down under that is in the rat race, and the female black actresses are really in the rat race, as it's a lot more difficult for them. So what you have now is now you start to see a lot of actors coming out speaking on this financial disparity, and they are upset about it because they feel like, hey, we're putting in the work, we're putting in the time. Our movies have generated the revenue. In other words, we've proven our worthiness to receive more money, and then they can look at their white counterparts, um, contemporaries in the same field, and you can clearly see the difference in getting this, and I got 250,000 for my last movie. And we're talking about even accomplished actresses like Viola Davis, is one of the best to ever do it. So I want to kind of go into that because it's not new. We can go all the way back to the 1950s where there were black actors who were starting to raise their voice about um, being unpaid fairly, and just the problem that they were having back then. Now, back in those days, it wasn't commonplace for black people, much less black actors, black people, period, to be speaking on anything that represented or reflected a rebellious spirit uh, inside of an industry or an entity that was controlled by white powers. It's like basically uh, be glad that we allow you to do anything. But what we got to realize is that nothing has changed. And how do I know nothing? How you know nothing has changed? Now, well, because we can go back just a few years ago when there were protests in the NFL. There were people who were kneeling during the national anthem, black athletes kneeling during the national anthem, and a lot of the team owners, a lot of the media, they went into uproar behind black players kneeling for the national anthem in protest of police brutality and racial inequality and imbalance in terms of who's getting killed by the cops and who's not. And one of the biggest things that will come out of their mouth would be, well, they should just be grateful. Because now, as it relates to sports, now they are making a lot of money. It's like, oh, you should be grateful. You should be grateful, which they're basically telling us, look, man, no matter what we do to y'all people, the fact that we pay you this money we're paying you, the money we're paying you, Mr. Multi-million dollar athlete, multi-million dollar actor, singer, rapper, the money that we're paying you is also, you're not being just paid for your talent. We're paying you to shut the hell up whenever we do something that you supposedly don't like. So that's part of what that payment is for. It's like, no. So when you don't shut the hell up, then what happens is they're like, I just can't believe that you would be so ungrateful. You're so ungrateful. It's like, wait a minute. So you're paying me off. You're paying me for my silence. And a lot of people just don't get down like that. So it's been going on, which is my point. It's been happening. It's been going on. But now people are starting to speak out against it. I saw Sister Taraji P. Henson speaking out. And, you know, you can go back a few years back to when Monique spoke out, and everybody said Monique was crazy. Everybody said Monique was tripping, and Monique was this, and Monique was that. But Monique was right all along, you know. So let me go into my angle on it. Because is there a pay disparity? Yes. Do I believe that it's racially motivated? Yes, of course I do. But I also believe this. We cannot make rules when we live in another man's house. I'm going to say that again. You cannot make rules when you live in another man's house. I can't move into Matt Greer's house. I can't move into Jackson Clark's house or Mitchie's house. And then all of a sudden I start saying, hey, man, hey, Mitchie, bro, you need to keep this thermostat at around 75, bro, because I don't like it too cold in here. So I'm going to put it on 75, and, you know, that's what it is. I come in Glandor Hill's house, and, hey, man, look, I don't drink, bro, so y'all had to get rid of this alcohol. And I'm just grab the alcohol. I'm pouring it all down the drain. It's like, you can't come in another man's house making the rules. So Hollywood and sports and the record business and all that, as great and talented as we are as Black people, we don't own the house. We don't own those industries. We don't. It's plain and simple. So we'll gain a lot of fame. We'll make a nice piece of money. We'll make a lot of money in by normal standards. See, and that's the thing. It's like, because some people would come out and speak against the things that Taraji is saying and speak against the things that other Black people have said. And the first thing they'll say is, and these even a lot of Black people will say this, well, man, all that money you making, that's still more than the average person makes working on a job. And man, so why are you complaining? If you blew your money, that's on you. And people will say that. And I get it, but I think it's more detailed than just that. It's not just that cut and dry to say, well, yeah, even if you're making $250,000 to do a movie, then somebody say, well, look, man, there's people that work on a regular job, man. They don't make $40,000 a year. They breaking their back. They doing labor. They doing hard work. So why are you complaining about making $250, man? And da 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 da. Well, What we have to look at is what different levels of work generate. So if I'm doing something that in totality does not generate what that person is doing and what the totality of what they do generates. So I make a movie and they pay me $250,000 to do this movie. And then the movie turns around and grosses 80 million. So now you're like, wait a minute. In comparison to what this thing that I starred in and made successful and what it generated, what I received is disproportionate. It's not fair. So that's where they're coming from. Then if they say, well, yeah, I was starting the game, and so I got to eat that. Okay, I accept it. I negotiated what I took, and I accept that. I got to eat that. But next time around, since I've proven that my art, my work is capable of generating this. See what my last movie did, my last two movies did. I should be able to come to the studio, the film production company, and say, well, hey man, let's renegotiate because my last two movies generated $162 million for y'all, and y'all only, and I haven't even generated $500,000. Then they say, no, nah, absolutely not. Now you shocked and taken aback and can't believe it and appalled and going on TV crying and all this different stuff. And I understand, but you living in another man's house. You living in another man's house, and they don't like you trying to make rules in their house. So before I get to the moral of the story, we'll keep going, because the mistake that we make is we expect criminals and snakes and scammers and rapists. We expect them to do right by us. And none of those things, none of those categories I just mentioned represent any signs or signals or indications that those type of people with those types of characteristics are going to do right by you. It can generate $1 billion. See, there have been times where I would do a show. I get booked for a show, right? And maybe a small show. I don't do a lot of big shows, but sometimes the promoter will say, hey man, we're gonna do this show and blah blah blah, we want you on it, and whatever I negotiate my price to be for that particular show, sometimes I've had promoters to say, okay, cool, and they'll say, but hey man, if we do really really good, if we do really really well at the door, I'll break you off some more, right? So you go, okay, cool. So then it does pretty good. And he said, hey man, yeah, we did good tonight, man. So I'm gonna bless your game because we did better than we expected. Now, technically, he could have said, well, man, this was your price. You negotiated this price. So it doesn't matter what happens after that. That's all me, right? And I think what happens is we expect that from these movie companies and these record labels, and we expect them to say, well, man, yeah, I know that we only negotiated for you to give me 200,000, but the movie generated 70 million, and the budget for the movie was only 5 million. So just on the strength of what it generated, wouldn't it be fair? Wouldn't it make just a little sense to say, yeah, let me cut her a little bit something else. Let me give it. But they don't do that. And if they do it, or if they have done it, I ain't never heard of it. Maybe y'all can find an instance where they have. You just don't see it. because these cats who run this industry, man, they to the bone with it. They true to it. Like, psh, we want every dime, and they're not gonna relinquish any of that to you. And we'll have the nerve to come right back, like, hey man, let's start on the next movie. So Taraji and a lot of other these actors, in my opinion, they are coming into the dragon's lair, not knowing who they dealing with. So that's why you cry. That's why you stress out. That's why you confused. That's why you are angry, because we've come into these houses expecting the people who own these houses and run these houses to treat us fairly and treat us with respect, dignity, and morality, to have morality. That's just not how they wired up. So the old saying is that where there's no expectation, there's no disappointment. Where there's no expectation, there's no disappointment. But if I have created an expectation of someone, I've created a delusional sense of expectation towards these industries. Now I'm disappointed when that expectation is not met. So you got to know the kind of devil that you dancing with. I see you, brother Chris. I'm gonna get there, because that's the whole moral of the story. But we expecting something from somebody who never had an intention to give it to you in the first place. And that's the whole key. They never wanted you in the house in the first place. We either had to just try to force our way in, beg our way in, talent our way in, meaning that they looked and said, oh man, these N-words are so talented that they can make us some money. Yeah, but I thought we didn't like them. No, we don't like them. No, we don't like them, but we like money. So we can use them to generate money. They're just glad to be here. We don't have to really even give them a lot. We can give them crumbs. And this goes on for decades and decades, all the way up to the current day. For anybody that might say, well, no, man, well, they know that was back then. That was back in the days of Hattie McDaniels. That was back in the days of Stepin Fetchit. Even though Stepin Fetchit was the first Black actor to become a millionaire. But they never wanted us in the house in the first place. And that was not just, that didn't just start with the industry. That is a carryover. The industry aspect of not wanting us in the house, not wanting us to be included, that's a carryover from the foundation of it all, which is just the societal aspect of it, just in society in general. That was the case and has been the case and is still the case. Just not as overt as it was back then. They could just tell you to your face, we don't like Black folks. We tell you how they think about you straight off the muscle back then, and you just had to kind of just, yes, sir. Okay. Now it's a little more covered. It's a little more disguised and more intricate in the ways that they present it, in some ways where we don't even recognize it, right? So now we find ourselves trying to argue and fight and debate and pull and scrape and squeeze for something that, like we're saying, we're entitled to, or we we deserve. Yeah, we deserve it because we earned it. We generated that revenue. Yeah, we do deserve it. But you can't be surprised when they don't give it. Because whatever you generate, the check does not land on your desk first. The check lands on their desk first. They got the check. They got the check in their hand first. Okay. Then they decide what's going to be paid out, what's going to be kicked out to who, and how much. And usually in the end, they are the ones who profit the most. The majority of that total is going to go to them and their family and their generational wealth. Their sustainability is going to be fed by that revenue, regardless of what you contributed to it. They call the shots. See? So black folks in Hollywood are upset. They're mad because you got less talented white folks that are making way more. But the white folks is on code. The white folks are like, we're going to look out for our own. We're going to look out for our own. And you can't get mad at somebody for looking out for their own. We should be mad that we don't look out for our own. See, we should be upset that we haven't, at this point, after all these years of crying and complaining about the exact same issues, we should be upset that we have not long time ago peeled off and worked to establish our own. Not our own Hollywood, but our own version of a cinematic structure. Our own version of a cinematic structure that would absolutely rival what's already in place. But we are so quick to just move towards and gravitate towards that which has already been in place that's never really treated us right. And we get clouded in our thought process because of the few that do get the big money payments, right? So it's, oh, well, no, man, but this guy makes 20 million a movie. Oh, well, no, he's rich. Look at him. Oh, they're going to always let a few come up. They're going to always let a few come up. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he said, no man can rise above the condition of his people. So if I was allowed to bust through, that don't mean we all made it. That just means they let me make it for whatever reason. Maybe I played the game. Maybe I kissed enough butt. Okay, he's good. But I ain't going to use myself. I ain't going to say maybe I. Maybe whoever it was played the game and kissed enough butt, literally and figuratively these days, because that'll get you there from what I hear. So that handful that make it to being 100 million, 200 million, 300 million, in some cases for black people, a billion. You probably got 10 or 15 black billionaires now, right? That clouds our thinking and our understanding because we say, well, no, that's not true. Look at him. Look at her. Look at her. That number represents such a microscopic percentage of the whole. And everybody else is struggling. And that handful that do reach that echelon It comes with a stipulation. You can't help none of them down there. You know, that's part of the deal. You can't help none of them down there. You can't bring them up. We allowed you to come up. There are things that we don't let you do. So you are powerful in one sense, but in the grand scheme, you're not powerful because those who gave you your power can strip it from you. Have we not seen it? Have we not seen some of the most rich and famous Black people be torn down by the same people who built them up? As Minister Farrakhan says, if they can build you up, they can tear you down. They made you, they can break you. So we shouldn't even be fooled by Oprah. We shouldn't be fooled by Michael Jordan. We shouldn't be fooled by Bob Johnson. We shouldn't be fooled by any of them. If they are not able, or if they can't change the condition of our people, or make a knock a hole in the condition of our people, I mean, really affect a change with that money and that wealth that they have, then it's worthless. It's worthless to us. That may mean the world to them because they're able to do whatever it is they want to do and live out their fantasies and dreams and have generational wealth for their families, maybe. But it ain't helping us, man. Because it'll be certain things that they're not going to allow them to do. What if one of them says, hey, man, I want to start some programs in the Black community that really teach about true Black history, who we really are. I want to talk about what was done to us. Transatlantic slave trade. I want to go into the root of who did it and who. Whoa, wait a minute. They're not going to let you do that. With your money, is it really your money? Brother Chris says, what do you say about the condition of our women? We can't rise no higher than the condition of our woman. A nation can rise no higher than the condition of its woman. So when we see our women in a bad way, in a bad condition, number one, it's our fault. But number two, it's a reflection on us as a nation, because the world gets to see our sisters in a low state that they've been placed in. And we're not taking ownership as men to pull our sisters out of that condition, or to make a way for them where they don't have to dance with the devil. So, yeah, when the check shows up on the executive's desk, he decides what he's going to do with it. He decides what he's going to pay you, and he'll tell you, take it or leave it. Because one thing they know, there'll be somebody else to come along. The amount that you turn down is somebody waiting and can't wait to accept it, and are willing to do things that you may not ever even conceive in your mind that you would do to get it. Man, I've told y'all before, man, I've seen some things and heard some things come out of people's mouth that I was like appalled that they were saying. See, just because we think a certain way, we'll say things that we'll never do. Man, I'll never sell my soul. I'll never be the one. I'll never go in there and let them bend me over on a couch and take my manhood from me just to get a part in the movie. I'd never do that, you know, and you might mean it. But boy, let me tell you, what I've learned, and I still find it hard to believe, bro. I'm telling you, man, I must have been just really like, I'm too optimistic, bro. I'm too optimistic. I think that's my problem. My optimism levels are very high. I wake up no matter what went wrong the day before. I wake up the next day like, okay, it's gonna be a great day today. So my problem was and is that I find it hard to believe that some of the things that our people would do for fame and money and position, it's a part of me that's like, nah, man, I don't really, man, nah, you lying. That dude wouldn't do that. There's no way he would do that. There's no way he did that. Then you like, wow, he really did that. Oh, wow, he would really do that. She would really do that. But I'm focusing on the he's because just me as a man, it's a certain, I'm like, nah, no way. But I heard things come out of people's mouth that I've read and that they posted, and I'm like, people I know, I'm like, okay, you know what? That is a percentage. There are people who would get down like that to get that spot. And my question always is, do it mean that much to you? You would let another man do that to you? You would turn your daughter over to a record executive or a record producer or a record, you would turn your child over to the industry at 13, 11, 12 years old to be turned out to be groomed, as they say? You would do that? And again, my naive mind is like, man, it ain't no parent that would ever let that happen to their child. I can't believe it. Yes, it is, man. Yes, it is. But that's a whole nother conversation. See, we're in an industry, we're in a house that we don't own, complaining about things that we can't control. Can't control something in another man's house. You can tell them what to pay you. You can try to negotiate. Sometimes you may have a victory here and there. You know, hey man, it's like people who work. It's like people who get up and go to work every day. Man, you've been on a job 10, 12 years, you know. They don't want to give you a raise. They barely give you a raise. And then when they finally give you a raise, they just, boop, here's 42 cents. We just gave you a raise. And it's not enough to even impact on any level. It's like you don't even feel it or see it. It doesn't even reflect in your check. But we go in there and we either go in there soft and passive, trying to ask for a raise, or even if we come in bold and aggressive, there's still that level of frustration because it's like, man, I've been at this company, man, 15 years, man. I done watched all these people come. And they sitting there like, hey, man, well, you can quit. You get somebody else to do what you do, sir. It's where we at. They make the rules. They make the rules. They have the mindset of, dude, you wanted to come into our world. You don't get to come into our world telling us how we should run our world. And really, they right. That's why we should build our own world. If you are Taraji P. Henson, if you are whoever you can think of, I've seen other actors and actresses make these complaints. You have a fan base. You have a following. You have people who admire and look up to you and love your work, who have already supported your work. The proof is in the income that's generated from your movies, from your work. It goes to show. So with that being said, if enough of you come together and form your own, then guess what? Your people are going to migrate. They're going to follow you wherever you go. Nobody loves. We don't have a loyalty to the production company. We don't have a loyalty or to the record label. We don't have a loyalty to the team, the franchise, if it's a sports team, right? Our loyalty is to the basketball player, the football player. Oh man, LeBron James. See, and how do y'all know I'm not lying? I'm gonna tell you how I'm a bad witness. Y'all gonna bear witness that I'm telling the truth. There are LeBron James fans, people who love LeBron James. Wherever team he goes to, that becomes their favorite team. They follow LeBron. They weren't committed to the Cleveland Cavaliers. They rock with the Cavaliers because LeBron was there. When he left and went to Miami, they packed up and followed him to Miami. When he left and went to the Lakers, they packed up and followed him. The allegiance is to the talent, to the star. Same in music. You got a dope rapper. He came out on this label. Had a problem with that label. He switched and went to another record label. You don't care about the record label he left. You don't care about the record label he went to. All you care about is, yeah, man, my favorite rapper. He dropping another album. He got that label situation squared away. So the point I'm making is that these companies and these executives and these CEOs and all these cats, they mean nothing. They have the money to put you out. But man, once you've established a name for yourself and you've generated some wealth, just like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, pool your resources with other like-minded individuals and build something of your own. Man, we can't do that. Why not? Why not, man? Man, them people gonna come after us. They gonna try to shut us down. They might. But man, you go in there, like the Christians say, you go in there with the full armor of God. See, God gonna bless. I just believe that God will bless our efforts to be free. God will bless your effort to be free and independent, to leave the plantation. If you want to leave the plantation, God will bless you because he wants you off it anyway. See? Man, we can't do that. We can't do that, man. Nah, man. What if it don't work? What if it do? See that? When I see that, I'm an optimist, bro. I can't sit around and worry about what if it don't work. My mind, I'm like, my thought process goes, boy, if this pop off, boy, we gonna be nice. So leave the plantation. That way you ain't got to get on TV and cry because they not paying you what they paying freaking Meryl Streep. See? Is it going to be hard? Yeah, it's going to be hard. But anything worth having, it's going to be hard. Just don't snap your fingers and then it goes down. We have to go in and negotiate. We have to negotiate it. We have to negotiate. Think about how crazy this is, bro. We have to negotiate just to be treated what we believe to be fair. We ain't even talking about comfortable just to get to the even level just of fairness, because we starting down here. So we got to go. See, if we starting here and this is the standard or whatever, and then all of a sudden you negotiate and we get to here, we think we did something. Well, we made some strides because now you're only 2 notches under fairness. You was 8. You still under. So Hollywood, man, they don't love you, man. Look, I can make an argument that they don't love their own. I can make the argument that they don't even love their own like that. Now, they be on cold certain levels, but man, look, you think they don't put white women on the casting couch? You think they ain't turning out little white female actresses? They had Brooke Shields naked in Playboy at 10 years old. You think they ain't punking out these white actors, the dudes? You think they ain't turning them, punking them out? They doing it to them too. So I can argue that they don't really love their own like that. So with that being said, what chance do you think you really got? So back to the title, what the hell do you expect? Let's build our own up, man. Let's build our own. See? And when we start to try to build our own, it's very important. I want to say this because I saw this a lot during my time. But not like I'm retired. I'm still in the game. But as I was, just navigating through the music industry, I've seen this many times. When we start our own, what we have to do is make sure that once we establish our own and we got it going pretty good, we have to make sure that we don't become that which we was trying to get away from. So what you mean? I mean that I don't know if the minister said this, Brother Chris, or if the messenger said it. I can't remember who said it, but I'll quote it. We can't trade our white slave master in for a black one. Can't do it. So when we start getting to that point, hey man, we're not going to turn around and start robbing and cheating our own people. We can't do that. It's crazy. Defeats the purpose. So we have to be the antithesis of what we've come out of. Can't be like that. Otherwise, we might as well stay on the plantation. And it's not fair to artists who want to build and establish our own, and are artists who may look and have an option to say, well, man, yeah, I could go sign with them, but man, we got a brother over here that's doing it. I'm gonna go sign with him. I'm gonna go sign with this brother so we can build our own thing. Then I go sign with you and you start cheating me. Can't do that either, man. Can't do that either. All the way up and down the board, man. We complain about it in the movies. We complain about it in music. We complain about it in sports, TV. I remember when the cast of Friends, y'all remember the TV show Friends? It was 6 of them on the cast, the main characters on the cast, and they renegotiated their contracts when the show was super popular, and each cast member was making $1 million per episode. Now, if I'm not mistaken, y'all go do the research on that. I think that was in the 90s when that happened. They were getting $1 million an episode. If it wasn't in the 90s, it was probably in the early 2000s, but y'all go check it out. But I know for a fact that they were all making $1 million an episode. And that was like a big thing. Like, wow. There was no black TV show that was going to be comparable, where the contracts of the cast would be comparable to that. And I know what some of y'all might be thinking. Some of y'all may be thinking, well, hey, man, look, maybe that was based on what the ratings was generating, and that could be true. I understand the cause and effect aspects of these things. Like, it's like how when I use, for example, like when WNBA players may talk about how there's a pay disparity between the WNBA and the NBA. And some will say, well, man, we should be getting what the men get and this and that, not really understanding the economics in terms of, no, the men's game generates billions and billions of dollars. So in turn, they're going to make more because of that. Sponsorship coming in left and right from these top major corporations. So compared to what y'all are generating, you can't say we should get equal. So somebody will make that argument. But if you make that argument, I'll understand it if that is the case. I'll say, okay, well, yeah, you generate more, you deserve to make more. But sometimes that's not always the case. See? And black folks putting over $1 trillion into the economy every year, and it's steady going up. We have to start using our dollar for something. We have to start throwing the weight of our dollar around to get the attention of individuals who are mistreating us, all the way up and down the board. From police brutality, say because we'll talk about how the cops are doing this, man. The treatment of black people is totally different with law enforcement than it is with white people. This is a fact. So we say, okay, well, you know what? Well, there's no consequences. They're not seeing any consequences. Okay, well, we got to hit them in their pocket, because they're not going to change it. They're not scared of a bunch of black people out there with signs marching. They don't care about that. They've seen that. They're desensitized to that. They don't fear that. But I know what they would fear. They would fear that money starting to disappear. They fear that. See, when the money go bad, white folks do some crazy stuff when their money is in jeopardy. You go back to the stock market crash in 1929. They lost everything. Some of them cats was losing everything. They were jumping out of windows. With no black people jumping out of windows, because we was poor from the go. We was poor from go. So the very condition that we had been in all along and had learned to adjust to and live with and live through, poverty, extreme poverty, They were not even at that level yet and couldn't take it and was jumping out of windows. And we looking like they don't know how to survive. And it's happened many times in the modern day. Like, man, you catch, make a bad investment and it go left. Like, meanwhile, you see a whole family, 5, 6, 7 people living in the house, barely getting by, but they're getting by. See? Because we was pulled from the go. So it's not a shock. It's not a big shock. Like the man said, when you are already close to the bottom. Look, if I'm on the curb already, if I fall over, I just fell over. I might hit my head a little bit and like, whoa. Because I was already low. But if I was way up here and I fall to the ground, splat. Got to do things for ourselves, man. I read somewhere where the budgets for black movies on average is 24% lower than other movies. 24% lower, just the budget itself. So you coming out the gate not even really getting a fair shake, because a lot goes in. See, when you got the right kind of budget, that fuels into the promotion and the marketing of the film. That fuels into people's interest in the film, and it helps to sell the film. Say Cowboys Lions wild finish. Yeah, them dummies went for 2. Jada Flow says, so our success will put these people where they wanted to keep us. Little did they know we were getting used to this. Yeah, but the thing is, Jay, we not moving fast enough. There are a lot of people who have this mindset. They're like, man, we can just do this ourselves. But again, like I said earlier, the big names, the ones who we would think that could really initiate it and get the ball rolling, those who are in the billionaire club and the hundreds of millions of club, they're not gonna play. They're not gonna play the game. They're not gonna get down with us because they are in too many partnerships and they are too connected to the real billionaire, the real wealth. And they got something that's like, dude, that's not part of the deal with them. They can't come. They can dance with us a little bit. They can stand with us a little bit, just to kind of say to us, well, yeah, hey, I'm one of y'all, or they might even care. They might want to do it. Some of them want to do it, not all of them. But some of them want to do it. They like to do it, but they scared. They're gonna lose it all. Because like we're seeing now, unfortunately, there are so many of our people who have adopted the ways of the devil to where it's like they got dirt on them. So they've been at the wild parties, they've been at the events, they've participated in the stuff, man, and a lot of them is a lot of them got some milky draws right now, because with all this stuff that's coming out, people's names are starting to come flying in out of left field, and And now that puts more pressure on it to say, wow, I sure better not say nothing now. Wow, they just put him on blast. Ooh, I was there too that night. Ooh. So it makes it tougher. Let me read what y'all talking about, man. Frontline Cars says, I don't believe as much in slavery. It was a choice, in my opinion, too. It's a choice, and look at people. Well, who was slavery a choice for? I'd like to know the answer to that question, because I know if somebody comes into your house and kidnaps you and your family and takes them somewhere foreign to them and forces them to carry out everything that they asked them to carry out, just build their whole world for free and subject them to the worst types of treatment that you could ever think of, I don't see where the choice in that was. So I know a lot of y'all like to quote Kanye and this type of thing, but I disagreed vehemently with him then. I disagree with him now. I guess what I could say that would maybe, I guess, bring us to some point of agreement. Once you know what and who you're up against, if you decide to remain in that, then that would be a choice. So I guess my question would be, what aspect of slavery do you view to be a choice? Because maybe we do agree on certain aspects, because the word slavery itself would have, there's aspects of it and parts of it that are different in my view. But if we're talking about this, the transatlantic slave trade, how we got to this point in the first place and how we got into this mind in the first place, then no, that's not a choice, man. But okay. All right. I'm reading y'all comments, man. I'm going backwards though. Trying to find some comments, man. Okay, I don't see nothing this far back. I'll come up. Shout out to Nikolai Browning. I appreciate the love and the support, Nikolai. Thank you so much. Somebody else dropped some love too. Let me go back and find that. That was James Richard. Appreciate that. Who do you believe in? Greatest song. Thank you, man. All praise is due to Allah. James Richard, I appreciate that. And Nikolai, I appreciate you. All right. Roger Martinez said, free Pharaoh. So you got all these companies, man, Netflix and Universal Studios and Paramount and Warner, and man, do your research. Brother Chris says digital hypnosis is real. Is that Yermi Yahoo? This broadcast gives me the spirit that's on your song, Bet Not Say It. I would conclude they have similar themes. Well, not this particular topic, because in the case of somebody like Taraji P. Henson, she's kind of saying it. See, they have to walk a very, very fine line. They can't go too far in. You know, they ain't gonna just blast like Monique. See, Monique, she said it. See, Monique, yeah, you're not gonna muzzle Monique. It was on her heart, whatever she was feeling, and she came out and she said what she said, and she challenged the power. She challenged who she said to be basically, in essence, the black slave masters. Being, she mentioned the brother Tyler Perry, she mentioned Lee Daniels, she mentioned Oprah, but she also mentioned Netflix. She called for black people to boycott Netflix, and people, you know, they laughed and they said this and said that or whatever. People made memes and jokes. Man, I'm not canceling my Netflix subscription because of Monique, and then, you know, and that's how we, you know, we'll shuck and jive our way out of things, and you know, and miss the big picture. Now we can go back into the mathematics that I spoke about earlier, you know, because you know, we got to be real about everything. Okay, if the mathematics don't make sense to pay this person that because they're not going to generate that, that's business. I understand, but at the heart of what she's saying, yeah, I ride with Monique with the heart of what she's saying, you know. But we got to get out. We got to get out, man. It's been like this. Hollywood been like this, man. Go back to Hattie McDaniels. Hattie McDaniels was the first black actor to win an Academy Award back in 1940. She wasn't even allowed to sit at the table with the other co-stars in the very movie that she was in. She had to sit in the back because that was the rule back in those days. Black, if you black, you in the back. See? So she couldn't even sit at the table with her co-hosts, with her co-stars, because she wasn't viewed as, she ain't nobody. She just the maid in the movie. See? They never wanted you in. I used to watch The Little Rascals when I was growing up. And I would look at how Spanky and Alfalfa and all of them was dressed, and then I look at how Buckwheat was dressed. Buckwheat clothes looked like somebody just chopped them up with a chainsaw and they made him put them on. Oh, they rubbed him in some dirt, then they made him put it on. His hair was all over his head, and because that was the image they wanted to portray and present to the world of black people. They wanted, this is how black, this is what black people are to us. Step and fetch it. Yes, a boss. Yes, that was the image. And I don't say that in a disrespectful way to those people who played those roles, because they did, as Dolomite said when he spoke on that. He said they did what they had to do at the time to get in, and them getting in the way they got in, agree or disagree, it opened the door for people to make whatever they're making right now. Just like a lot of us don't agree with a lot of the methods that were used during the civil rights movement. We didn't agree with sit-ins and protesting, to not have to be able to go to certain schools and integrate. We didn't agree with all that once we kind of understood the effects of it. But we also have to respect the doors that it opened that did contribute to certain advancements and certain degrees of of freedoms that we now experience. So, our road ain't been perfect, but we still moving slow because we scared. This thing represents a concrete slab that we just feel comfortable that this slab is solid and it's a solid foundation. Like, yeah, this ain't going nowhere. We good. But little do we know that slab is cracking up from the bottom, man. It ain't got no more hold to it. They can make it appear that it does. Hattie McDaniels was in 300 movies. She only got credited for like 80 of them. Because they didn't want to put a black person's name on the credits rolling, beginning or end, especially at the beginning. So if we want inclusiveness, then we have to be the ones to create and build. See, if I own it, I'm 100% included because it's mine. And you're included because it's mine. Because what's mine is yours and it's ours. Keith James says, what about having a mind that can be a target? What do you mean? I don't understand what you mean. You say, what about having a mind that can be a target? I don't understand the question. It's Bendy says we got no control over anything. Well, we do. We just don't execute our control. We have total control. We just relinquish it. We hand it over. We hand it over. Jamal Montgomery, long time no see. Last time saw you in Houston, 2015 with Minister Farrakhan. Oh yeah, man. Yeah, that was in the promotion of 10-10-15, the 20th anniversary of the Million Man March. Yeah. Well, we better become comfortable being uncomfortable. When all the elders were gone, everyone lost those ways. The thing is, those elders, they passed their wisdom down to somebody. See, that's what made them great elders. They passed their wisdom down. We just haven't done right with it. See, an elder is not going to die with the wisdom and just not tell nobody. We just ain't doing right. We know what to do. There's too many of us that know what to do. There's too many of us that are still here. Mr. Farrakhan's still here, still teaching us what to do. And Novak's 89, no, you don't see Mr. Farrakhan supporting Trump. No, you don't. That's not true. That is not true. Mr. Farrakhan is no supporter of these presidential candidates or these presidents. He is no supporter of them because he knows that America is falling. He knows that America is sinking. So, and he knows that based on the prophecy, on scripture, not something he making up. So it would be a contradiction for him to be supporting Donald Trump. See, Anything that the minister said about Donald Trump during the time when he was running, you didn't understand the context of it. See, the minister wants to see black people free. He wants to see the new world come in and the old world go out. So if a guy like Trump would come along and accelerate the process of our independence and our freedom through idiotic actions by forcing us to unify and come together, then he would be in favor of that. But that's not an endorsement to Donald Trump, because Mr. Farrakhan is the same man who said that Donald Trump would take America to hell on a rocket ship. So you missed it. You missed it. You're not supporting a man if you're saying he's gonna take America to hell on a rocket ship. Not a support. The minister don't support American politics. Come on, you missing it. Or you surface dwelling. You're surface dwelling because you may hear something that you think is an endorsement, but you don't understand the layers and the depth of what's being said or the context or why it's being said. You don't get it because you may not know the mind that the minister is speaking from. And that's no disrespect to you, but I'm just telling you what I know. Joel Wilson, shout out to you. Universal mother of all. What's going on? But at the end of the day, we got to do for self, man. We have to do for self. We got to put ourselves in position to do for self. We got to put ourselves in position without fear, without being scared of what might happen. What might happen. See? Well, like I say, at the end of the day, the minister is in no support of any candidate. Definitely not Donald Trump, definitely not Biden, not any of them. You know, context is everything. And I'll watch the video that you watched, but I know the minister doesn't endorse any presidential candidate. So we can agree to disagree and have that disagreement respectfully. Do for self, invest in crypto, take the proceeds and buy land. Do y'all trust crypto? Do y'all believe that crypto is the answer? If America is falling, how can crypto be the answer that's gonna save? Now I will say this: if you can get some of it, if you can generate what you can generate within a time frame to buy land, then yeah, that's cool, because now the land is the end game and that's the value, that's the valuable thing. But you better do it fast. Yeah. No, I was just saying about the about crypto. You know, when you say buy land, okay, yeah, because by itself, this economy, nothing. nothing about this system is going to be sustainable. None of its programs, none of its operations, none of its inventions and schemes and mechanisms is sustainable in a fallen world. But when you said take it and buy land, yeah, but we got to do it fast. So yeah. Bubba C's in the building. Len Bernard says, why would I want to buy land here when this place is under judgment? Well, all I can do is quote the Honorable Elijah Muhammad again. He said, if the judgment come tomorrow, we still got to eat today. So I hope that answers your question. Because the scripture says no man knows the hour. So if we're waiting, sitting around peeking through the blinds, waiting for the judgment to come, you got a family that still needs to be taken care of today. So for however long you have it, that's how long you have it. We don't just resign ourselves and say, well, God's going to destroy America anyway, so I'm just going to lay back and just wait on it. Nah, you move forward. You move. You keep living. What do you think about First Amendment auditors? Okay, First Amendment is what's that? Freedom of speech. My little Constitution knowledge is a little rusty. So the first freedom of speech is the First Amendment, right? The right to free speech. And we know that freedom of speech is being attacked. It has been attacked for years, and a lot of the censorship and a lot of the cancel culture and a lot of the potential future legislation that will go after people who exercise the so-called right to free speech. There's legislation being discussed where they can just go after people who criticize certain groups of people and go after certain groups of people and expose certain groups of people. There's legislation being planned where they can actually turn that into a crime and lock you up. So yeah, I ain't with it. But again, just like we're talking about with this industry and all that, the cats who run this world, the cats who control this world, they don't want to be exposed. And more people are waking up and coming into the knowledge of what was done and what's being done and who's doing it. So measures are being taken every day to push back against that. So they can kick you off of a social media platform. They can fire you from a TV show. They can kick you off of a basketball team. They can strip you of all the things like I talked about earlier that they gave you. They made you, they can break you. And those things work for a little bit. But it's not sustainable because a lot of those people, they'll either play the game, bow down, and fall back in pocket, but it's always going to be another one springing up. or they'll spring up in a different form that they can operate independent of those entities where it's like, man, that didn't work. Or they have a following that's developed to the level where it's like, man, we couldn't cancel them because they got a following that's not going to let us cancel them because the following is too strong. So the next step, logically in my eyes, would be, okay, well, we know what to do. We'll just make it be a crime then. We'll just say it's illegal to say this or say that. And we can accuse you of being that, even if you're not that. And that's part of what the minister's doing with this lawsuit that he's levying out right now. Hollywood is getting picked apart. That's right, man. It's getting picked apart, bro. Whew. Jamar said we never had freedom of speech with public corporations. That's why the nation's law, right. The nation's lawsuit against the ADL is going to be, it's going to be interesting, yeah, without a doubt. Richard Hunt says the veil has been lifted. Yeah. It's where we at, man. This is where we at. Lynn Bernard says, I don't follow Elijah Muhammad. I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. If you but only knew. If you but only knew. Well, I'll contend this to you. If you follow Elijah Muhammad, he'll lead you to Jesus Christ. He'll lead you to Jesus Christ. And you might be surprised at what you see. But that's another story. What are some good and bad things about the current educational system? Some good and it's hard to find some good, Snoop. Some good things about the current educational system. I ain't gonna lie, nothing is popping in my head, man. I guess on a base level, I can say that, man, it's hard. There are young people who have come up through the educational system that went through the steps, 12 years, 13 years, graduated, got a diploma, went to college, got a degree. There are some success stories. Yeah. But I would say the bad far outweighs the good, especially today, because a lot of the lies that have been taught to us, that were taught to our grandparents, are still being taught today. The schools are not safe for our children. You got people running up in schools all the time, shooting and killing up your babies, shooting and killing up your children. It's not safe. There's no protocol for real security measures. Just walking there with a gun. I speak at schools a lot. I've been to schools a lot, man, and have spoken at schools. And I can't ever remember, maybe once, but I can hardly ever remember getting patted down or metal detected. Just let you walk right in, give you a little badge, and you go. Now, I'm not going in there to shoot nobody up, but you know, the security is terrible at these schools, man. The teachers are subpar, of a large percentage, not all. A lot of great teachers out there. I know many of them that are really trying, but a lot of the teachers are subpar. They don't really care. It's just a payday for them. The good teachers have no power to really get down with the students the way they want to discipline them. And I don't mean like corporal punishment. I don't mean anything like that. Just you can't even say anything to the children. Some of the parents are a nightmare to deal with because their mindsets are messed up. It's hard to find any good. I can think of a lot of bad, man. The food that they feed in the schools, you know, we've been eating that old bad, worthless, non-nutritive food for years. We can probably go on and on. Yep. Oh my gosh, man. Well, I'll deal with this, then I'll leave it alone. Novak says, I'm going to read your second part first. You said, I respect everything Elijah Muhammad stood for, and he contributed greater things to mankind than 99% of humans, but I can't vouch for the pedo stuff. Which takes me back to your first. You said, how do you feel about Elijah Muhammad having sexual relations with minors, or do the rules change for him? Prove he has sexual relation with minors. You must have watched the Malcolm X movie. Or you can go to this video that's on YouTube where the wives, not underaged minors, the wives of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad came out years later and spoke of him. Go watch that video and see how they spoke of him. How they spoke of a man who was in your eyes what you call a pedophile. Now, you can't put Elijah Muhammad in the category with the Epsteins of the world and then some of these cats that's real pedophiles. So you don't understand who you. It ain't about no rules changing for him. It's about lies being told on him. That's what it boils down to. So slander and media who want to kill and destroy the messenger of God are going to perpetuate, are going to create, then perpetuate that type of information. Not true. You would have to prove it. Prove it. I challenge you to prove it. See, a lot of y'all will get on platforms and y'all will repeat and quote what you heard another person say, but you can never, ever provide any evidence to the contrary. Nobody's been able to. Honorable Elijah Muhammad had wives. He had wives, not minors. So you can take it or leave it alone. But that's what the facts are. But until you prove it, then this is where we'll be. Because see, you can't throw a rock and then hide your hand. You can't just toss something up in the air and then act like you didn't do it. When you put something that heavy out, you got to be able to back that up. You got to be able to back that up. You can't just say that. See, that's like when they try to say the minister had something to do with killing Malcolm X. They toss that out there, but can never provide any concrete proof because it's not true. You can't find truth in something that's a lie. See? They tapped the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's phone. The messenger was tapped for years, just like Malcolm, just like Mr. Farrakhan, just like Martin Luther King, just like any black leader that ever came down the pike who had any impact or influence on the black community. His lines were tapped. If that was information pointing to him having inappropriate relations with underage females, oh, it'd have been came out. It have came out faster than some of the stuff that's coming out today. So you got to prove it. You got to prove it. The burden of proof is on you when you make a statement like that. So, good shot. That's a good shot. But it was an air ball. Sorry. Hey, man, y'all drop y'all locations, man. And look, okay, let's take Jeffrey Epstein, for example. I'm not going to come back and say I respect what Jeffrey Epstein was. I respect 99% of what Jeffrey Epstein did, and all knowing all the stuff he did. Hey, man, that cancels it out to me. So that statement you made doesn't even really hold any weight. It's like, because if I know the things that a person has done, well, he was a serial killer, man. He killed 18 people, but he did open a community center. Nah. How do you respect that if that's the case? That don't even make sense to me. Marky is in Illinois. Lou Hybrid is in Pennsylvania. Keats James, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Galaxy X, the youth in Houston is out of control. Please rap about positive. Well, I do my best, Galaxia, to rap positive. I try. I mean, I like to believe I ain't saying I'm the best, but I try to rap positive. I try to give the youth something to go on. So I appreciate it, though. You're right. You know, we can all do better. We can all do better. Galaxia in Northern Cali. You're right. It doesn't make sense comparing Epstein to Muhammad. You're right. Yerme Yahoo is in Chicago. Jackson Clark is in Salt Lake City. Oh, man, I hate to hear that, Lou. I hate to hear that, man. Well, this is what I can say to you, bro. Just live as the best example you can live. And some of them will come around. I believe some of them will come around. Hopefully they'll all come around, because it's just like the slander campaigns I just got through speaking about. If somebody turns on you because you became a Muslim, right? If they turn on you because you became a Muslim, then they're not basing you on what they're seeing. They're basing that decision they make to turn on you on what they have heard about what a Muslim is, or what somebody told them what a Muslim is. They didn't even, you converted. They haven't even given you an opportunity to show what that conversion is going to be, what it's going to look like from you. They haven't even given you that opportunity to turn because of what they have heard. But you have to just show them. Just be the example, and sooner or later, maybe not all of them, because sometimes pride kicks in. See? When pride kicks in, they can see that you was right. Wow, he did really turn his life around. Wow, Islam did make him a better person. And they still won't give it up. They still won't say, man, I was wrong, man. I misjudged you, man. I heard some things about Muslims, and I'm looking at the way your life is now, bro, and and clearly it's made a difference in your life. It's changed you for the better, man. I apologize. Somebody would do that, but a lot of them won't. See, a lot of us have been so indoctrinated into other forms of organized religion that have been so stepped on and tampered with that they don't even focus on principles. They focus on labels. They focus on titles. So you don't even know what type of principles that a man or a woman stands on. You just hear them say, "Oh yeah, I'm a Muslim." Oh man, oh boy. Yeah, well, I know what you. Oh no, man, I can't, bro. And you don't know nothing about Islam like that. You don't know. Have no clue. Somebody told you something. You watched a YouTube video from somebody who had an axe to grind, or who was one-sided in their assessment, or who was intentionally putting out false information, propaganda and slander and all these. That's why we have the debates that we have. Like just when we talk about Donald Elijah Muhammad and uh, underage girls and Mensa Farrakhan and Malcolm X and anything, any controversial topic that has ever come, that has been discussed 8 billion trillion times. There's nobody who follows anything about the Nation of Islam that this is their first rodeo. None of this is like, oh, what? It's like same thing. Galactus says, I'm Christian, but I respect everyone as long as they don't shove their beliefs on me like the gay agenda. Yeah, I was taught that there's no compulsion in religion, and only an oppressor would try to impose their beliefs on somebody else. If I was a dictator, if I was a dictator, tyrant, a ruler of a nation, and I decided everybody's going to follow this religion by force, I could make you proclaim it. Probably I could send the military to your house and bust in with guns and make you proclaim that you believe in this, what I said to believe, and you can profess it out of your mouth. That don't mean that you believe it in your heart. So I can't convert, I can't force the conversion on anybody, and no one can force it on you. No one can force it on me. Whatever's in your heart is in your heart. Any of us who have a belief, our job is just to just deliver the message. Just deliver the message. Donald Elijah Muhammad said, just deliver a clear message. That's your only job. You can't fight and wrestle with people to make them believe or disbelieve. Or I used to do that when I was young. You arguing and debating and hollering and at the top of your lungs. And, oh, man, no, man, yeah, can't do that. You just do your best to show the people what you were saying. That's all you can do. I don't have to say a word if I'm a living example of it, because you're not speaking from the book. You've become the book. Don't steal that. You're not speaking from the book. You've become the book. Oh man. All right, let me do this real quick, because I don't want to leave this guy in the blind where he may run into somebody else and look crazy. Okay. All right, Novak. You are misconstruing the Honorable Elijah Muhammad with Prophet Muhammad of 1400 years ago. And Prophet Muhammad's Aisha, the 9-year-old that you're talking about, Prophet Muhammad did not have relations with a 9-year-old little girl. The person you are misconstruing Elijah Muhammad with is Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. So this is why it's very important, like I said, to not take what other people teach you and say, and then you run with it because you think you have some jaw-dropping bomb of information. You have that mixed up, bruh. That's not correct. Your information. So this is the thing that we got. This is the homework assignment. Anytime somebody tells y'all anything, not just about the Nation of Islam, about anybody, I don't, if it's your next door neighbor, if it's a breed of dog, if somebody tells you, hey man, don't get that type of dog because those breeds, they shed all over the house. They shed hair all over the house. And you might say, oh man, that's messed up. I really wanted that dog. But you took that person's word for it. But you could have went right online or wherever, or found somebody who got a dog like that, and they would have told you, no, these dogs don't shed at all. See, I've had one of these dogs for 8 years, and look at my clothes, look at my furniture. They don't shed at all. But when we just take something that somebody says, or you misread something without getting context and understanding from somebody who really knows, this is what happens. All right, man. We gotta be thorough, man, in our research. We love to just go whatever especially if, not saying you, Novak, I'm giving you benefit of the doubt, but especially if you already got a problem with, see, a lot of people got a problem with the nation. A lot of people got a problem with Farrakhan. A lot of people got a problem with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So they look for anything to try to oppose the teachings, to try to oppose what has been established by the nation, and they take that and they run with it because they feel like, I got them. I got them. Can't do that. Can't do that. It goes way deeper. Way deeper. Got to read, man. You got to read KSU. You got to research. That's why I say we can't be surface dwellers, man. We can't just take the first thing we hear and we run. Ooh. Can't do it, man. Let me go back because I got to give y'all shout outs, man. We didn't get that many cities today. Okay, I see Brother Chris in Oklahoma City. Okay. Not many shout outs today. That's all love, man. Oh, Nino in Houston. Patricia Van Winkle is in Biloxi, Mississippi. We in this thing. We in this thing, man. Let me. After all, God's word is living and active. Yeah. We got to become the book. See, if you become the book, you ain't got to say a word. People see you. People just go, There's something different about him. There's something different about her. Something, man. Oh, it's just that person, they got a vibe about themselves. It's like the way that person walks, the way they move, it just commands a certain attention about itself. It's different. Novaks is in Pensacola, Florida. KSU is in Temple, Texas. Yeah, Lou, look, man. If your family turned on you for becoming Muslim, bro, all I can do is tell you, you pray on that. And you pray that you can live a life that's an example that will show them their error, but not in a vindictive spirit, because that's still your family. And they just don't know. Sometimes they just don't know. They've been fooled. They've been tricked to believe that this is something that it's not, because it's a war on Islam. It is. There's a war. There's a war on Islam. Islam is like the fastest growing religion in the world, and it's taken over the false religious practices of the rulers of this world. See, they rule the world through shady, false religious practices under the disguise of a religious label, under the disguise of a cross, and we're Christian, we're loving Christian nation. But in reality, man, they Satan in the flesh. So in order to keep doing what they doing and hustling like they hustling, they got to wage war on a religion and a way of life that will go contrary. That's contrary to what they trying to do. Islam ain't having all that. And a real Muslim gonna call them out. A real Muslim gonna call them out. See, you can't pull the wool over a real Muslim's eyes, man. So now with how many Muslims in the world, Brother Chris? Billion? Was it a billion? 2 billion? I don't know the number, so I'm not gonna quote something I don't know. But Islam is the fastest growing religion, man. People converting left and right in one form or the other, whether they're going Orthodox, whether it's brothers joining the nation, whether it's brothers becoming 5%ers, whether it's people just saying, hey, man, I rock with Farrakhan, man. Whether it's people who don't even apply the label to themselves, but they are moving in the principles of it. They don't like that. Who has America been going to war? Who has America been warring with for the last freaking 30 years? It's been Muslim nations. They had a plan to wipe out 7 Islamic nations in a 5-year span. This is a plan that was instituted by the United States government. So slander campaigns are going to be pushed out, spewed out by the media. And when it goes to the media and the media relays it to the public takes it in, they process it. So somebody's mother or grandma or uncle sitting at home watching the news, their view and opinion of what Islam and what a Muslim is being shaped by liars on TV saying that it's a terrorist religion. They do this, they do that. They hate their women, they do it. See, I can't speak for all branches of Islam and how they move in the Islamic world. But I can say just from my own experience and from what my eyes have seen and what my ears have heard and from being around Muslims in the Nation of Islam, they telling lies on them Muslims. I contend there's no group of men that respect women more than the men in the Nation of Islam. I contend that there's no group of men that believe in protecting family and the family structure more than the men in the Nation of Islam, standing on principles more than the men in the Nation of Islam. And I'm just speaking about the brothers in terms of the treatment of the women and all. Hey, I ain't telling you what I heard. I'm telling you what I know. So they lying on them Muslims. I can't speak for the rest of the Muslims in the whole Islamic world. But if somebody say the Muslims in the nation got women walking 5 steps behind them and all, no, you lying. Mm-mm. The women can't come in the mosque. Nope, that ain't true. You lie. Learn to distinguish. Because if something like that does come out about other members of the Islamic world, then we can't speak for that. Can't speak for that. All right, man, you know what? Let me say this. I appreciate these kind of conversations. And I appreciate people who ask questions because they genuinely just want to know the answer, not because they trying to be on some slick stuff. So I appreciate just hey man, I just really wanted to know. I didn't mean no harm or disrespect. I just wanted to know. That's cool. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Yeah. Jada Flow says so many different ways of thinking, like the universe being an omnipotent force that's in all of us. God, but in all, isn't there? Let me see. Hold on. They asked me a question. So many different ways of thinking, like the universe being an omnipotent force that's in all of us. Okay. But in all, isn't there just right and wrong? Okay, I got you now. I'm a little slow sometimes. I got to process the question. But I guess the best way I can answer your question, I hope I answer it right. I go back to something that Minister Farrakhan said. He was talking about God. And he was talking about, like what you're saying, so many different ways of thinking. But in all of the different ways of thinking, most people, whatever religious label that you apply to yourself, would agree that the objective is to get to God, right? So the minister said 4 plus 3. Then he said 5 plus 2. Then he said 6 plus 1. Then he said 7 plus 0. So he laid out multiple mathematical equations that were different in their makeup, but all equaled out to the same number, which was 7. So the point was 4 plus 3 might be your way to get to God. My way might be 6 plus 1. Her way might be 5 plus 2. But we all coming to the 7. So for us to be arguing back and forth, man, about 4 plus 3. 4, 6 plus 1. Yeah. Let's find common ground and figure out what we do stand on that we are like-minded about. And most of the time, the similarities outweigh the differences. It's going to be some differences. But I heard somebody else say, we'll hash that all out in the hereafter for those who make it. And look, let's get free. Let's get free. Now, once we get free, okay, we free. We got the press off our back. We finally independent. We running our own world. We in control of our own world, like we've been talking about from the beginning. We ain't got to worry about Hollywood and now. Okay, we free, man. We got our land. Families are secure. Now let's talk about these little differences that we used to argue about that wasn't really important at all. Or let God sort it out. Let God come through and say, nah, bro, you was wrong. And you argue with him, you crazy. See? So I hope that brought some answer. That brought an answer to the question. All right, man. I ain't gonna hold y'all, man. I've been on here 2 hours, man. Blessings to the world. Blessings to the world, y'all. I'll catch y'all later on, man. Peace and hair grease.